Good morning.
Good morning, Barry.
We're here today with Bob Berman at the offices of Trimark Press, and we have published a book for Bob called Chasing Rainbows and Beyond. And it's Bob's story, and he defines his life and how things have progressed through it, and many of the things that have prompted him through the years. Bob, I guess the question I usually ask most people, what possessed you to write this book?
Barry, my book is a motivational memoir. Throughout my 85 years, I have had a number of very unique experiences, some of which were so unusual, I felt the reader would find them most interesting and enjoyable. Once I began writing, I recall 4 humanitarian projects, which were the most important rainbows I ever chased, with a pot of gold for humanity at the end of each one. That's why I refer to my book as a spectrum of life and hope. They appear in the final section of my book entitled Hope, My Final 4.
Bob, before we get to asking you specifically about those final 4 rainbows that you chased, tell me some of the most unique experience you had and that you wrote about during the book.
I began with chapter 1 by writing I worked for the mob.
You worked for the mob?
Yes, but in a different way. In my late teens and early 20s, I formed a swing band that played music from the big band era. Dick Robinson of radio station Legends 100.3 calls it music from the Great American Songbook. In those days, illegal casinos operated up and down the Mississippi River. The mob needed a front for their operations. That's when we began working for them. Gambling flourished in their back rooms while we played music for dancing up front. My mob boss was named Black Jack Powell, a very suave gentleman with a gorgeous blonde wife. Each evening after our gigs, when she paid me off, I never gave her a second look because I always felt that was a much better way to get to New Orleans than floating down the Mississippi River. One evening, Black Jack's casino burned to the ground. Some thought it was the townspeople. Others said it was a competing mob. But I knew the real reason. The truth was our music was just too damn hot.
It sounds like you had a lot of very interesting stories in that book, Bob. How about some humorous ones?
Definitely. My wife Sandy and I opened the first successful Chinese restaurant in the city of Jackson, Mississippi, the state's capital. On the eve of our grand opening, there's a story about the missing egg roll. 300 to be exact. No one has had a more incredible and funny experience, although I must say it wasn't funny at the time.
Bob, tell me a little bit about the final 4 humanitarian rainbows you chased.
I worked to achieve every one of them, but was never able to bring them to fruition. However, the embers of each one of them still glow bright, just waiting to be reignited. Number 1, the Hope Scholarship, patterned after the state of Georgia, whereas every high school student with a B average can receive a tuition-free education at any Georgia university. With the enormous cost of tuition today, and the need to compete in a global economy, every state needs a Hope Scholarship. Number 2, Hope for Starving Children. There's a plant in Lubbock, Texas, named Breedlove, that produces life-saving dehydrated foods for less than 10 cents a meal, including shipment overseas. No child should ever go to bed hungry, and certainly not starve to death. Number 3, Hope for Tolerance. I have proposed a center and museum of tolerance at my former University of Mississippi, known as Ole Miss. It would complement the non-denominational chapel on campus that has a large cross over its entrance, embedded by a Star of David, symbolizing the Judeo-Christian creed of our great nation. The need for tolerance never grows old. And finally, hope for a cure for Lou Gehrig's disease, or ALS, the most vicious of all afflictions. with no cure in sight, I have proposed an unprecedented plan to raise $1 billion for ALS research through the professional sporting world of Major League Baseball and the NFL, because that's where the money is, and it will not be cured without research. I am devoting the remainder of my life to accomplishing that mission.
Bob, your ambitions are certainly large, and we certainly hope you can achieve all of them in your lifetime. In concluding, with your varied background and your entrepreneurial experience, are there any recommendations you would like to offer those starting out?
Most certainly. Winston Churchill always said never give up. Never, ever give up. If someone is stymied, perhaps they may need to change directions, but never, ever give up. In order to accomplish anything in life, one must stay everlastingly at it. Stay everlastingly at it. And nothing great, Barry, was ever accomplished without enthusiasm.
Bob, I want to thank you for coming here this morning, and I want to thank you for highlighting the various things that are outlined in your book, Chasing Rainbows and Beyond. It would certainly be a great inspirational tool for anyone to follow. Thank you.
Thank you.